of getting coaching staff and support staff on and keeping people engaged, educated, excited about the future. I mean, this show, we certainly deal with the topics of the day. We have to, but we also use a lot of the time on this show purposely on the future and thinking about when things will get back to normal and we'll have our sports life and our sports teams and our pursuits when it comes to sports and enjoy those again. You know what? I've watched some things on. I can't wait to ask Chris Steele this. I've watched some things on tape. I watched the game to get into the Final Four for Oklahoma State when they beat St. Joe's. It was early, 7 a.m. Saturday is when that came on CBS Sports Network. But I knew the result. I knew John Lucas had a tremendous second half after getting a do better talk at halftime from Eddie Sutton, and I knew the Cowboys went to the Final Four. I also knew when they got to the Final Four they were going to lose to Georgia Tech, and I hated that. But you know these things. It's hard to, I don't even, I love football, and I don't even watch a lot of football replays. Now, I tell you what I have been doing since Zach Ramsey loaded the Exos, I've been looking at opponent tape. I'm looking at the future. I'm scouting. Not that I have any thoughts that are going to help Oklahoma State prepare for Oregon State. I say do the same game plan you did to them last year. It was good. I like that game plan. All right, joining us now, Chris Deal. And Chris, how are you?
Good. How are you, Robert? Thanks for having me.
No, it's good to have you on, and we're going to broach some different topics with Chris. I was just telling the folks the day the lights went out on college spring sports, you and I had prepared and were set to do a doubleheader on ESPN Plus between the Cowgirls and Western Illinois. And later on that afternoon, I ended up going by softball to get Kenny's thoughts on what had gone on that day. But I regret we didn't get to do that game together. I think we were going to have fun.
Yeah, it's always fun. Coach Gajewski and the ladies have were off to a really good start, and I was excited to be able to get out there with you and call the game. What an interesting time from the Thunder shutdown from that game, or what eventually spun off to the rest of the world. Man, what a crazy chain of events, and really miss being able to see the girls play softball, the ladies, and also the lack of baseball and just the overall spring sports.
Yeah, it was. I remember going over that afternoon, and when I first saw Kenny, and this was right after they had come out and basically shut everything down. The NCAA had already canceled all spring sport championships, and even though it'd be about 24 hours till the Big 12 shut down the seasons, when you know there's not going to be playoffs and NCAA tournaments and College World Series, you pretty much know that okay, this thing is probably done. You brought up a great point. In fact, you had worked doing the stats and had some great insightful stats on Sunday when we were doing the game on ESPN Plus, and with people like Allison Febri, with Carrie, Ebert, and uh, and then all the existing players. I just named off some of the transfers. Wow, I thought Kenny had a team that could win it all. I mean, there's no guarantees, but he had a team that I don't think was going to take a back seat to anybody. And now, Chris, after finding out what we found out yesterday from the NCAA Division One Council, I know they didn't guarantee the scholarship money, but they did give all those athletes another year of eligibility. And judging from my conversations with Kenny, all he believes all the girls are going to come back. So we could be on board for a really fun year next year for Cowgirl softball.
Yeah, exciting for all those seniors to get an opportunity to come back. Obviously the logistics of it all from a school standpoint and the student athletes getting another year so much goes into this, and it's uncharted territory that everybody's trying to figure it out. You know, if you have pro dreams or you want to go on to the next level, I'm sure those opportunities are still there. But what a golden ticket for those seniors to be able to come back and potentially get another trip around.
Yeah, we also mentioned baseball, and I'm pretty sure you were set to be at O'Brate on the 20th for that. I think a lot of people were set to be at O'Brate. From what I hear, there were a ton of people set to be at O'Brate, but I think it's interesting, and it may, in talking to Josh Holliday last week, the thought is, depending on the future, and we kind of have to wait and see how everything takes form and how soon we get back to any sense of normalcy. But Josh planted the idea that maybe you bring in a big time team for a scrimmage and kind of put all the pomp and circumstance, uniforms, everything on a football weekend, maybe on a Friday night, um, and open O'Brate that way, which could be kind of cool, especially on a football weekend.
Well, you know, attendance will be up whenever they open the doors. I mean, that's a beautiful stadium. I had the privilege to volunteer at a couple of the ticket events for people picking out their season tickets, and it's just really special to go over there and be inside the new ballpark. You know, whenever that time comes, it's going to be a huge event, and people are going to flock out. And I just hope they come out and support baseball, not just because of the new stadium, but because those guys deserve it. I mean, Coach Holliday and Cowboy baseball are really trying to build something special over there.
Give folks a sense of your background. You came here and took over the CoachGundy.com, and you're kind of I don't know exactly how to describe it. You're kind of a little bit of a marketer, a little bit of a sports, public relation, even media relations. Just I would say public relations probably would be the better term because it's more encompassing for Oklahoma State football. But give folks a sense of your background and how you ended up at Stillwater and on the football floor at the West End Zone.
Well, it's been an interesting ride. I'm getting ready to go into my 10th year. So Casey Dunn and I came in at the same time. So we're getting ready to make season number 10. It's been interesting. You know, my background, I'm from Stillwater. Originally grew up Stillwater Pioneer, and then I actually went to school at Wichita State and got into media relations and started doing press releases and stats and got into the whole media world. Jumped around, went to UAB, spent 5 years at New Mexico, and then got a chance to come back to Stillwater and Oklahoma State. Initially, Kevin Clintworth and Coach Gundy brought me in to run Coach Gundy's website, CoachGundy.com, and to kind of help out with Coach Gundy and launching his Twitter account. And so it's evolved from there. I mean, it's gone into the website. It's gone into social media. I sit in all the marketing staff meetings, all the media relations staff meetings, all the football staff meetings. So, you know, I'm privileged to have a lot of information about the overall department and football in general, which helps. I mean, all the things that Coach Gundy and the staff want to make happen, it's nice to know the administration side of things and try to bridge that gap and make things happen. Since coming on and starting with his website and his social media, it's kind of morphed into overseeing graphics for recruiting, and then oversee the football video side of things with Keith Vessels. Does all our football videos and has done a great job. He's an OSU grad and been with us now a year and a half. And then graphics-wise, we have two full-time graphic designers, in Peyton Offill and Olivia Ramirez, and they're outstanding. I think, you know, Peyton's been with us about 8 or 9 months and really super talented. And he's a photographer. He's a graphic designer. He has a lot of emphasis on social media. So, you know, we've been able to hire some people that are our type of people and really work hard for Cowboy football. And so it's really made the job a lot of fun. And we continue to kind of build on this whole football recruiting. It's kind of a monster. It just continues to grow, and it's been fun being kind of the guy trying to drive that for OSU.
We did a story on Pokes Report on the Sports Illustrated Maven Oklahoma State side on the graphic designs, because that is an area, and I think you gotta feel really proud. You've seen guys that you brought in that you gave direction to that I mean there's one that's basically in charge of graphic designs for LSU football, and he's going to end up with a national championship ring when those things come out. And Texas A&M, I think, hired somebody away from Oklahoma State, South Carolina. So you gotta, that's kind of a great form of flattery when people say, "Man, they're doing such a good job. We need to hire their people." Uh, and that's kind of been the case with the graphics part of this.
No question. So South Carolina came and took our original designer, and then LSU, Texas A&M, Oregon's tried. We've had a whole handful of Power Five schools call, and it's nice to be one of those programs in college football that everybody wants to go poach your guys. Now, it makes me not sleep well at night knowing that somebody's creeping around trying to steal our guys away. But, it's nice to know that we're having that kind of impact, not just with the recruits, but visually, and the digital footprint for Cowboy football continues to grow. And that's something we put a lot of time and effort into, is not just building the behind the walls. There's a ton of stuff that we do that nobody ever sees because it goes directly to a recruit, or a coach sends it out, and it's all DMs and text messages. But, we've tried to take a more national approach and get things out on Cowboy football. So Kevin Clintworth, Gavin Lang, Sean McGuire, Kelly Reeves, that digital team from the administration side have really helped us and allowed us to do some stuff like posters and social media graphics. And the helmet havoc that Peyton Offill came up with has really been a hit so far. And so many things that we're trying to do on the public space to improve that footprint, as well as the behind the curtain recruiting side.
Yeah, and I'll put a warning here, but uh, getting in on the recruiting side of things, and seeing how much the graphics, because I mean, let's be honest. I mean, the millennials, and we're talking about that. The very young millennials would be your recruits that are going through right now in football. They get excited when they see, uh, their face, their number, their likeness, lit up in a fancy uniform in a stadium. And you can do all kinds of things with graphics. Um, so when somebody, this is my question rounding about, because because of Oklahoma State, and I think we all know OSU, while ultra successful in football, still doesn't get treated as a blue blood. And I think in my opinion, OSU is on the verge of being a football blue blood with the level of success they've had. But you have those detractors that say, well, yeah, but they don't recruit like a top 10, top 15, 20 team, and all that. And you know what's going on inside the recruiting. When some of that comes out or bubbles up, you cringe a little bit.
Not really. I mean, we have excellent coaches. I mean, Coach Gundy is always doing what's best for the program. He's brought in full-time coaches and assistants that are going out trying to dig up the best players in the country. And that, the ranking system is all based off opinion. And so, I don't get caught up with it. Maybe early on I did, because I thought, man, we're chasing all these guys. There's a lot that goes into it. Graphics and videos, that's just one element. You have relationships, and you have proximity to home, and parents have a big influence. Their buddies have a big influence. There's so many factors that go into this So I don't necessarily get caught up into, well, you guys aren't recruiting the best of the best. I watch it every day, and our coaches work extremely hard going after the best players, and not just the best players, but players that fit Oklahoma State. You know, with the portal going crazy and people up and leaving, I think it's even more important to find players that want to be here and want to be in this culture as much as finding just a great player, because I don't want a great player if he's just going to up and leave after 6 months. And so our coaches have really put a lot of time and effort into, you know, turning over every stone and making sure they're stopping by every high school to not miss a kid. Now, does it happen? Yes, but I think we put forth the effort each and every day that we really try hard here to find the best athlete and the best fit. And that's something coaches really made a point of in his, at least my 9 years with him.
Two things with Chris Deal, who is basically oversees, for the most part, public relations for football, and you know, has branched into things like the digital graphics, and that applies to both public relations and recruiting and all of those. And so you've really kind of morphed a job in, you know, that you initially got into a much bigger job. But I was going to say this on the recruiting front. I don't pay a lot of attention to the rankings, even though I'm involved in that business. Um, but I did see the other day there's a group out there that's starting to re-recruit, or not re-rank recruits from different classes by position. And I saw where Kenneth Edison Magruder, who was like 77th or 82nd or something like that in his class at the time when he was being recruited as a safety prospect, in re-ranking, he's the number one recruit from his class at safety. So that kind of, on the re-rank, that kind of tells you how good this staff, like you were saying, is kind of doing.
And, you know, if you remember Magruder, he kind of had a chip on his shoulder early on in his career and felt like he, you know, wanted more time and he was going to go out and earn more time. And he had a great mindset to go out and try to make plays, and has come into his junior and senior year. He was a great teammate, really lifting guys up and made plays on Saturday.
Last thing with Chris Deal, who does a terrific job, and this is on a personal note. If you have seen Chris Deal during his 10 years at Oklahoma State, and I still consider you a new dad, but how old is your youngin right now? Close to a year or a year?
Yeah, Parker's coming up on 11 months, and
Okay, that's what I thought. It was about a year.
yep, he's been a lot of fun. We're trying to walk right now. We've taken a couple of steps, real wobbly, but we're working on it. Anthony Hibbert in our weight staff with Coach Glass was talking about how he got his son to walk and stand up, was putting a ball down and letting him kind of squat and do so. Coach Hibbert and Parker got on a little weight program early on when he was about 7 months old, squatting down, picking up tennis balls and little balls so we could get his legs strong. But he's trying to walk here about 11 months.
Well, there you go. And I was going to say with Chris, Chris is, I mean, he is a fraction of what he used to be, and as somebody who's heavy set and is always trying to negotiate that. He's you've been a hero to a lot of people. Your mindset and your will and dedication. Uh, yeah, that's something to be admired. I just was going to tell you that.
I appreciate that. You know, when we were having Parker and the idea of having a son and wanting to be around and just be healthy and be able to get on the floor and crawl around with him and play, you know, we crawl around and chase each other in the living room and play. And that's stuff that I couldn't have done at, you know, upper 300 pounds. And here I am, you know, low 200s. And I feel healthy and I feel good. And I'm excited, not just about being a good dad to Parker, but to be, you know, a better person, a better employee. And it does take discipline and a lot of hard work, but I'm excited. You know, it's spring. I'm ready to get outside.
Yeah, we all are. So, well, hey, I just wanted to tell you I missed our opportunity with Cowgirls softball in Western Illinois. Yeah, I had to really work to research Western Illinois. They were not an easy scout, so I was kind of bummed I didn't get to use all my material. But hey, Chris, I appreciate you coming on again. Congratulations on all the work you do over there. I know it's appreciated by Coach Gundy and the staff, and keep it up.
Thanks, Robert. Appreciate it. Have a good day.
All right, Chris Deal, and appreciate him coming on with us. And like I say, I appreciate Coach Gundy backing us on this. So it's been good. We've had plenty of time, but we've learned, and we're meeting maybe some new people,